It is time now for CURES. I'm excited about this segment because, they say we teach what we have to learn, and everyone knows self-care is important, but it's become even more important during the pandemic with a lot of people at home not doing their normal activities, and it's harder to get that me time.
Author of Chicken Soup for the Soul books, Amy Newmark, is here with some strategies to help you put your me time on your to-do list every day. Amy, I guess my first question is, I feel guilty sometimes about taking me time, and I don't want to feel that way, right?
Yeah, self-care is not selfish at all. If you do your self-care and you make that me time, you'll actually be better at being a partner, a spouse, a child of a grown, a grown child of a parent, a parent yourself, a friend, a colleague. You'll always be better if you've taken care of yourself. It's like that old story about put the oxygen mask on first.
Yes.
It really is true.
No, it's
well,
absolutely
and you
true.
have all these stories, which I think is helps with your point, Scott, of not feeling guilty, because we all know that it's actually part of just making ourselves a better person. But it's easy. It's the first thing to go, right? So one of the stories suggests that we actually put me time on our calendar. And I love that, she didn't put me time. She must have still been a little embarrassed about it. So she put Lily P, which was like a lily pad, imagining like a frog basking in the sun, and all these like random Lily P appointments, which were really her me times on her schedule.
Yeah, that's the thing. We all say, I'll take care of my me time after I do my to-do list or after I do all these other things. We actually need to put it on our to-do list, put it on our calendar, carve it out deliberately. Sometimes I call it like pay yourself first,
Yeah.
And you also need that psychologically. You need to know I have that hour later in the day that's for me, or I have that 4-hour block on Saturday that's just for me. So yeah, her boss told her the reason she was so stressed was because she had no lily pads, the frog sitting on the lily pad, relaxing in the sun. So she started putting Lily P on her calendar every day. And she said, it made her life with her family so much better. In her case, she was looking for some we time as well. She wanted to spend time with her 3 daughters.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, that's so great.
All right, you also recommend getting out into nature, which Karen and I try to do through Elizabeth Park.
Yeah, there's so much research that just even being out in nature helps us calm down.
There's this Japanese term, Shinrin Yoku, which is actually part of the Japanese national healthcare system. And it's also called forest bathing. It's when you get out in nature and you're surrounded by these trees that have been there. They were there before you were born. They're going to be there after you're gone. The birds are hopping about doing their thing with no regard to what's going on in your life. It gives you perspective and it puts your problems in perspective. And you realize I'm just one little person, out of billions of people, and my problems aren't that important. And also, you move your limbs freely. It really is incredible. And I've noticed, I'm sure you guys have noticed too, during the pandemic, people are going out in all kinds of weather they didn't used to go out in. Everybody's intuitively realizing they need that time. And
So true.
our book is filled with stories from people who rediscovered nature, whether it was just sitting outside and looking at the birds at the bird feeder or whether it was going for, rigorous hikes.
I did a story on it called Wintertime Mindset, and it was based on this woman who had researched the coldest place in Norway and how they're happy in the winter. They don't have the winter blues like we do. And the one thing I learned was get out in any weather. And I got myself a little bit better boots and better this and said, all right, I'm not going to just not walk for 3 months. So we all got to just make friends with winter. And you say carving out a specific hour each day. Now, I can hear some moms at home going, hour? How am I going to carve out an hour? But a lot of women have started getting up earlier and actually enjoying that time.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be an hour. If you can't pull that off, it could be a half hour. But one of our writers, who's actually one of our editors, Christy Pastor, she lives in Stratford. She has 4 kids, ages 5 and under.
Oh my
gosh.
So God bless
she
her.
gets up at 5 every morning and goes to an exercise class, which sometimes is in person and sometimes now is on Zoom, of course. But it's a bunch of stressed moms. They all get up early and it makes her day so much better. And she looks forward to it. But, if you're not a morning person, you could do what I do. My hour that I carve out is from 10 to 11 each night when I get to read a book that I didn't have to edit. So we all have our different ways of getting our me time, but the important thing is to get it on your calendar, carve out that time, and then you have something to look forward to.
Love that. Love that. And ask for help from family and friends. You know, if we can all be our CEO of our life, we need to learn how to delegate a little bit, because sometimes I think we get angry going, why is no one helping me? Don't they know I need help?
All right.
Yeah, like sometimes a mom will walk in the front door and she's carrying all these groceries and her kids will just look at her and she'll be thinking, how come they're not helping? Well, you actually have to ask, and you have to ask your spouse also for help, because they're not going to just somehow know intuitively that you need the help. But when you do ask for help, people will happily give you the help. So one of our writers realized that what was really stressing her out was the whole process of getting dinner on the table every night. So she told her kids she needed help, and they happily helped her. And they said from now on, they would do all the grocery shopping and they would do the cleanup after dinner. And she kept the only part of dinner that she liked, which was actually making the food. And that's what they've been doing ever since. People will rise to the occasion, but we are also accustomed to doing for others, especially women, that we don't realize that we just have to ask.
Well, thank you, Amy. We appreciate it. We're out of time, which is a bummer because we have much more to talk to you about. But we thank you so much for being with us on Better.
Thanks so much for having me.
And Chicken Soup for the Soul, Making Me Time is available now wherever books are sold.
I love the covers of these books, too. They're so clever.
Doesn't that look lovely?
It does
Coffee
look
with
lovely.
Making Me Time.
All right, the next time
you handle this, Scott. If you could read this next story, I need some me time.
You take
Okay.
it. You